Thunder! 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 Hello and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies. With special guest, Tim Davis. This is the podcast where all three of us went and saw a movie at a local Regal Cinema Theater. And now we're going to talk about it in Matt's Honda Pilot, in the parking structure right next to the theater. We're going to talk about such things as, should you see this movie? Should you not see this movie? Should you bring your family? Should you go by yourself? Can you bring a date? Can you slack off and not pay attention? Do you need to pay attention to every single thing that you see on the screen? You know, those hard-hitting questions, maybe some information about the movie. You never know. We try our best. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy. And yeah, we went to a movie. We saw a movie. That's what we do here. And then we talk about it. So, we saw the movie Thunderbolts, the latest in the MCU saga, I guess. And we will talk all about that. But first, Tim, who's in this movie that we may have heard of, actor, actress-wise?
No, this is a ensemble movie where a lot of characters from previous movie entries in the various MCU movies, and so lots of returning people. Our star is Florence Pugh. She plays the Black Widow, Yelena Belova, who made her debut in the Black Widow movie, and then she was also on Hawkeye TV show. And has she been in anything else? I think that was the main two she showed up in, right? I believe so.
I mean, in the scope of all her movies, or just
of MCU, character? As far as MCU, yeah.
Oh, I think that's it.
Yeah, just to reference people. She's also been in a lot of other movies over the years. She's probably the biggest star of this group. We also have Sebastian Stan, of course, returning from as Bucky, the Winter Soldier, of course, all the way back to the first Captain America movie, and he's been, from the beginning, pretty much. And we also have Wyatt Russell, the son of Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. He's back as the failed Captain America, John Walker, the U.S. agent, as he's now known. We have David Harbour is back as the Red Guardian, Captain Russia, basically. He was also in the Black Widow movie. A lot of this connects to the Black Widow movie that came out, as far as the lead threads. We also had from the Ant-Man and Wasp movie, Hannah John Kamen returns as Ghost, she was one of the antagonists in that movie. And then we have Julia Louis-Dreyfus returning as Valentina Allegra de la Fontaine, who's been a kind of a government agent trying to recruit some of these characters in various movies and the Captain America Winter Soldier show. And of course, she's famous for her days on Seinfeld. And then we'll mention her. Olga Kurylenko returns as Taskmaster, who was also in the Black Widow movie for a bit. And that is your team of Thunderbolts as well as their recruiter, so to speak. And I'd say that's it for all the names as well.
Okay, so yeah, what's this movie all about? Well, you painted the
yes.
groundwork
Tried
there, Tim. We've got Valentina, who's this government character who's being kind of investigated.
Director of the CIA.
Director of the CIA, right. Anyway, she's been employing the various elements who eventually make up the Thunderbolts as kind of like assassins or
rogue
secret agents,
etc. Yeah.
Basically to do her bidding. I guess as the leader of the CIA. In this movie, she's being investigated, and so she sends all her agents out to kind of destroy evidence. And so then all of the agents end up in the same place, the secret vault, and they figure out that she wants them to kill each other.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
She wants everyone to be dead and all the loose ends to be tied up. So that's not great for them. So there's a lot of time spent breaking out of this vault structure, and then we find out sort of the result of the research is this other character, Bob, who has some powers that are revealed throughout the movie. And then he uses those powers in not good ways, and the Thunderbolts have to figure out how to deal with his powers.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the movie without revealing a lot of spoilers.
Team of solo usual agents having to team up when they do not like each other.
Right. So a band of misfits, if you will.
There you go.
So yeah, so that's what I'm going to say about that. Todd, your reaction to Thunderbolts asterisk?
So I think in the long run, I'm going to land on this was an okay movie that I somewhat enjoyed, but I have plenty of problems with it. And I was very excited about this movie. I really was excited to see where we were going with these characters who I've wanted to see back for a while, and I really felt like, while I thought overall it's good, and I thought actually the acting in this movie is really good. I
agree with that.
Felt like there weren't too much like, ooh, it's a comic book movie. I thought there was some real emotions that, that we can relate to, and there's some, stuff that I thought was just portrayed pretty well, about mental health and stuff like that. But I have a problem with movies where smart characters do dumb things all the time. And that's what this movie is filled with. People who are supposedly, tactfully very smart, very trained, and just making bad decisions all over the place that don't make tactical sense. And some of it, I get it, you're playing off of who's around you and stuff like that, but some of it just didn't play with me. And I felt like that was very disappointing. And a lot of that stuff was just played for laughs, which I feel like is the Achilles heel of Marvel movies. When things are just played for laughs and it's not a laughing movie, it's overboard. Sometimes you can have smart quips and you can have smart things here and there that is, and obviously anytime you have the Red Guardian in a scene, almost his entire purpose, besides a couple of scenes in the movie, is to provide comic relief. And there are certain times where that played off very well, and then there's just times where it's just, like I said, smart people making very dumb decisions that it's just really hard to get behind. And it's just the way storytelling is. It's just, we establish these characters to be a certain way, and then to get the story where we need it to go, we got to change them. And we got to say, oh, well, they're not doing the smart things that they should know and stuff like that. And because we got to get it from point A to point B, and we got to get to the next scene, and we got to get to the next laugh, and we got to get to the next bad guy and stuff like that, while almost just not even, I don't know, wrapping up the stuff before it. It just was we were on a roller coaster for this movie, and I don't think it was the greatest roller coaster. Some of the CG was really good. Some of it, I thought, during the fights with Sentry, looked a little hokey, and I'm how are we continuing to go backwards in CG? In CGI. I don't understand it. We've seen stuff that looks so crisp and so good, and maybe they're trying to cut back on money and stuff, but there was just times where, Sentry's doing his Sentry things, and you're oh, we could have done better in that scene with something that looked a lot better. So, this thing's getting really good reviews, and I don't understand it. I can understand okay reviews, and I can understand, oh, I enjoyed this. It's not the greatest, but I enjoyed it. But, really good reviews, I can't stand behind that. I am going to land on, if the movie's not bad enough for me to say just don't see it. So if you were going to see it, I'm not going to convince you otherwise. If you were on the fence about it, I'll push you over the fence. Go ahead, go see it. I'm not going to say go see it, but I think I've just heard a lot of reports about Marvel patting itself on the back for this movie, and people being Marvel is back and stuff like that. And I'm this is the same old stuff that they've been slinging at us for the last couple of years that have been misses all around. And this one's more of a hit, I think, than a miss. But I'm not going to pretend it's great, because it's not. It's enjoyable at times. Some scenes of action were really good. Some stuff of a serious storytelling was good, but it wasn't great in any of those categories for me to say, yeah, fantastic, 2 thumbs up on this movie. So if I'm Marvel, I'm you are falling into the same traps you always do, and it's crazy to me that you cannot get out of your own way. Especially when you have reoccurring characters that everyone wants to see. Everyone wanted to see the Red Guardian again. Everyone wanted to see Yelena again. We all came back to this movie because we're hey, these characters, I want to get back and see them and stuff like that. And it just it wasn't a home run. And I wouldn't even say it's probably a double to me. You hit a nice, to the outfield double. Sure, great. Be proud of yourself a little bit, but it's not a home run. You didn't hit a grand slam. You didn't win the game. You're just still in it, kind of. So, that's me. Tim?
All right. I also was very looking forward to this movie. I look like a fun collection of characters. I'm thinking like, okay, this is our first big, they're selling as the first big threat to face this Marvel world since, some other movies. And it's like, all right, this looks like a fun adventure. I'm ready for it. I did have fun. I did enjoy it. But like Todd said, I agree with him. It wasn't great, but I enjoyed it, and I still recommend it. I liked the chemistry in the cast. Like they picked the right characters, I think, to play off of each other. And choosing, Florence as Yelena as the lead to unite them all, or at least be the glue, I think it was a good choice. I think her character is one of the shining lights in the MCU the last couple of years. She's just, anytime she shows up, it's fun and interesting. And they gave her depth in this movie as well, which I think she's had. And like you said, Todd, I think I agree with the acting being really good in this. Like, for a superhero movie, you get what you get, but they tried to focus on mental health as a central component of this movie, and that like superheroes are people too, and that like they all have to deal with stuff just like we all do. And I thought that was a strong component of this movie that I thought they really were using as the main like message. And then like we all deal with stuff, some of obviously on the good side, on the bad side. It all makes us who we are, and I thought that whole thing came through really strongly for me. So I think, and I can see why that critics would love something like that, because this was not your typical punch and kick, quip superhero movie. This was a movie that was a lot more about mental stuff, while they did still incorporate that stuff. So I can see critics being a big fan of that. And I will say I also liked it because it did feel a little bit different. While yes, the quips were there, and there were some scenes, like you said, that were there just to be funny and just to be silly, because it's like, well, we got this collection of misfits, as you said, Matt, and we got to have them bicker and banter and do all that, and some of it was a little forced and others were genuinely earned. So, it's that mishmash you get from that. And but overall, I did enjoy it. I also agree with you on the CG being hit or miss. There were some scenes that looked really good. There were some scenes where it's like, well, that's fake looking, and I don't know if I agree with that. But, overall, I do enjoy this. And if you're an MCU person, you might as well see it, because it's, going to tie into the next thing. I'm sure it'll mean something. The end, as you all know, stay tuned for the end credit scenes as they set up more stuff, and that's what you come to Marvel for. But if you wait till streaming, you can just fast forward to the end and see what's next. It's not a surprise if you are tuned into the MCU, but if you are, it's still a nice, oh, okay, all right. So overall, I do recommend it. I think I enjoyed it a little more than Todd did, but it's not like in the top tier of MCU movies. But I as someone who's enjoyed the more recent ones, and even though the MCU even itself will admit that it's not in its highest point, I think this is another good one on the way back up. I think this was better than the Captain America movie. I at least enjoyed it more. I don't think it was as good as Deadpool and Wolverine. I also enjoyed the Marvels. I know that a lot of people didn't. I would put this just under those two, but above Brave New World. So I liked it. I think if you're going to see it, you were going to see it anyway. You might as well see it in theaters. It's a good theater movie. Matt?
Yeah, so I liked some things about this movie. I like Florence Pugh in general.
Yeah, she's great.
I thought that her acting was strong in this. I did like that we were doing something different than sort of standard superhero movie. That was interesting in some parts. But I did feel like, aside from Yelena, the character, I thought the other characters kind of were like in the background.
She was definitely the focus.
Yes. And so, I don't know. I kind of feel like this is the worst MCU movie I've seen in a while.
Okay.
I didn't really enjoy this one too much. Like I said, there's a couple things that I did like about it, but in general, I thought that the characters were just very, very bland in a lot of ways, and didn't really suck me in as like, oh, I want to know what's going on with Bucky Barnes, or ghost, or you know.
Well, we've also gone through 2 movies where one movie he's running for Congress, and then in this movie he is a congressman. And I'm like, you were telling a background story without telling a background story.
Yeah.
Like you were doing things that I'm like, we don't get to see
And I'm not even quite sure how it
the stuff
was that relevant to what they ended up doing.
I know, it's like
Yeah.
I just like
Because when they dropped that hint in Cap, I was like, okay, that's interesting. I wonder where that's going to go.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
my problem is at this point, and sorry Matt, I'm kind of hijacking
Yeah,
the
yeah,
time
yeah,
here.
yeah. No,
My
you brought up a good
problem
thing.
is that they have an end point. They have
Right.
They're like, we know what we want to do with Doomsday. And this is what I think. I'm not saying this is fact. This is how it
your
reads to
theory.
me.
Yeah.
They know what they want to do in Avengers Doomsday, and they know what they want to do in Avengers Secret War, and they know how they want to end this ride to restart it again.
So we're going backward. Right.
So, but they don't know how to that's what's planned out. The stuff leading up to it, I just don't feel like is. It's like
Yeah.
we have these movies that we promised because we put them on the slate. So many things have changed since we put them on the slate, like no more Kang because of that guy. Like, and they're like, we still know what we want to do at the end. We're just at this point, we're just trying to get there. Like we're just trying to get to the last 2 Avengers movies that is going to end this long ride that we've all been on, and I think restart everything in a different way. Like, so we know we want to do that. Now it's just getting there, and we're kind of just fumbling around trying to get there.
Yeah,
Right.
Building off of what you said, Todd. Sorry, again, Matt. It does feel like with the initial arc, everything seemed to flow, and in a way where you were intrigued. And even if you could sort of guess what was coming, it was good because that's the story was taking you there.
Yeah.
This does feel more like, hey, what are you doing over there? All right, yeah, let me see. All right, I'll do this. And then, what do you got? Oh, okay, cool. Let me write this little part.
I'll
here.
do this funny
Yes.
thing that we can connect to.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
some
and it
way,
does
and-
seem more piecemealing it and not this cohesive plan. And like you said, they're working backwards, and so it's like, okay, so if I do this little scene here, that should do that, right? Good. Okay, cool. Let's go.
For a company that promotes that one man is in the direction of this
Yeah.
entire thing,
Correct.
it does not read to me that much.
It doesn't
anymore,
feel like that
one
anymore.
person
Yeah.
is making these decisions. It's now a whole group of people who have like, well, I want to do this and I want to do that, and this is my movie, and like,
Yes.
it feels disjointed.
So yeah, back
It feels very
to go
disjointed.
with what you were saying, Matt. Yeah.
And you know, you look at the arc and the rise coming up all the
Yes.
way from the beginning to end game.
Yes. Amazing.
Really well done. Like, are there some less than
Oh, sure.
glorious ones
Yeah,
in there?
I mean,
yeah,
we
of
still have
course.
Thor 2, The Dark World. Like, we still have
Right.
things
There's
that
still things that were misfired.
were just
but-
not. They just weren't that good of a movie, but they still felt relevant in
Yes.
this long
Things
story
paid off.
storytelling
Yes.
of that. Yeah.
Yes, these latest ones just feel like grasping at straws almost. With the gravitas of the characters is just not there.
Yeah.
And I think that's across the last many movies.
Well, and the end things that they throw in after the credits are no longer cool things. It is straight up, we're not sure how you feel about this movie. We need to
Here's
make
what's
sure
next.
you are going to see the next movie.
Yeah.
right.
So we put in these things to make people go ooh and ah and go, well, I got to come back for the
Well,
next
now
one.
I got to see that.
And I'm
Yep.
like, you're not earning that. You're
Yeah.
just throwing it out there. Like,
Yep.
whereas
I mean-
the first 10 years it felt earned.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, and each one was yeah, like, yeah.
Of course, I'm going to keep seeing these movies.
Yes.
But I am finding myself caring less and less about what's
Which
going
is
on
not
in the
what they want,
MCU.
obviously.
It's just like an obligation at this point. So,
Right. You're this
Um,
far in.
I'm going to say I didn't really like this movie. Do you need to see it? I don't know. I guess it depends on what they do with these characters from
at
here.
some point,
but-
the things that are, and I'm not advocating for anyone not to see this movie,
Right.
but at some point, the things that make this movie a quote unquote must see to get to the next movie will just be online.
Correct.
Like,
Right.
I mean,
What
Yep.
this really was some story closure / wrap up for stuff that happened in the Black Widow movie, because like you said, with Yelena being the center of it, she got to kind of finish her arc along with Red Guardian.
yeah.
And that was one of the best scenes in the movie, and that was just wrapping that movie up basically.
Yeah. So, anyway, my thoughts are I don't,
it
I don't
does
care if you
kind of
see it.
start to feel to me that they're like, for the foreseeable future, all of our eggs in the Fantastic Four basket.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I'm okay
Go
with
see
that.
Fight.
It
And
does look good.
I'm super excited about Fantastic Four.
It looks really
Like, it looks like a super stylish, great movie.
It looks fun.
But it's like, it kind of feels like that's where they're putting their focus. They're like,
all
let's
their
just,
hopes in.
let's limp to Fantastic Four.
And then we'll go
And
from
then
there.
we'll figure out what to do after that.
Right.
So,
Let's hope. But until then, we're
getting
left
down to the nitty gritty here. How many blue eyeliners would you give this movie?
good one.
As I could not understand the tactical advantage of going into battle with super blue eyeliner under Yelena's eyes.
Well, you should try it, Todd. And see how it goes.
Have you
it
been
was
in a tactical
distracting,
position?
and I was like, "What's happening?" Like, there is no other piece of like makeup on her body besides
And nor is
this
blue
eyeliner.
And nor is
that
blue really a color.
Yeah,
of her.
blue is nowhere else on her body.
Yeah.
I just was like, I didn't need a reminder that she wears makeup and she's a girl. Like,
Right.
that's what
Yeah,
it felt
yeah,
like to
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Like, and I was like, I don't need that reminder. I get it. Zero being the worst because then you have zero, and then your eyes are sporting nothing when you're in battle. And
Nothing to highlight
apparently,
them.
that's not the way you roll in the MCU. And 5 being the best because then you can share with your team, and that's cool.
Yeah.
So.
You'd be an actual team.
Matt,
This whole team could just wear
Yeah.
blue eyeliner. It'd be great.
I mean, I was kind of like, why isn't everyone wearing blue eyeliner?
Right,
It
if that's
seems
gonna
like
be
that
your
could be a
thing.
team thing.
Right.
Yeah. Well, like I said, not great for me with this one, and I'm going to give it 1.9 blue eyeliners out of 5. I'm going to say you could probably skip this and read about it online, but if you like Florence Pugh, well, then I
She's
guess
pretty
you
great.
have to go watch it. That's me.
Tim?
Well, like I said, I am still in the go see it category, especially if you're an MCU completionist and you've already probably seen it and are just listening for our opinion, but I hope you continue to do that. I have it above average, but just slightly, so I have it at 2.7.
This is a hard one.
Yep.
Part of my feeling, this is not fair to this movie, but part of my disappointment with this movie is that at this point we have had 3 Suicide Squad-esque movies
True.
that cannot deal with a large world-ending event, and I'm like, the best storyline for those characters are street-level things. Maybe you go against a kind of powered person, but like,
Right.
we have not had a kind of like a Thunderbolts or a Suicide Squad team where they're not facing something gigantic and earth-threatening. And I'm like, the bread and butter of those teams in that story are these small level invade a country, like do something shadow-esque stuff.
Something
And it's like,
the main guys wouldn't
I'm
do.
like, you overthink it. I think the best bet for this movie was to introduce Bob and the Sentry, but slow play what's happening. It all felt incredibly rushed.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, we just need to get to a big baddie. So, let's force everyone all this through and stuff like that to get to a big baddie. So, and gosh darn it, if you're a fan of the Taskmaster, just don't see this movie.
No.
Like, they can't do this character any adjustment. They have not crapped on a character more, in my opinion, than the Taskmaster. And I'm sorry if you're a fan of that character.
Yeah, we can leave it at that.
But that's going to get me to a 2.5.
Right,
And
that's
that even
nice.
feels higher than it should be, but
Well, you know what?
I can't.
2.5 asterisk.
That's true. I can't deny the power of the Red Guardian in this movie, who I thought Florence Pugh did phenomenal.
Yes.
I thought David Harbaugh
Yes.
carried this movie on his back, of just like his character is designed to
To
get
be-
everything from point A to point B.
And he's the cheerleader that team of people who don't want to be a team.
Like,
he's Mr. Go.
I mean,
Gung-Ho.
yes, was it over the top with him? For sure.
But that's his character.
But that's the character. It worked in good ways. But I was like, near the end of the movie, I was like, man, you carried this movie on. Like, anything that was character growing, like comedy, anything, all came from the Red Guardian.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. That's fair.
And I was like, geez, you really carried this movie on your back. So, but to me, that's some marks of lazy writing there, not
Right.
great storytelling. So, that's me, 2.5.
There it is. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we saw the movie Thunderbolts.
Asterisk.
Asterisk. Yes. The asterisk is
explained
at some points and changed at other points, and I'll just leave it at that.
It's a cute reveal if
Yes.
you can see coming if you are paying attention.
Yes. So
So I took it a different direction than you guys are taking it.
Okay.
Not revealing what the end does in this movie.
Yes.
I thought, and this is, I still think this.
Go ahead.
The asterisk is because they're using the name of the soccer team.
Oh yeah, I think that was the running joke. Correct.
that's funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how.
That was actually a clever, fun thing that they had fun with.
Well, anyway, we gave this an average rating of 2.3 and 2/3 out of 5 blue eyeliners out of 5.
That was my guess, since we couldn't do it on the phone. Was 2.3. I didn't go further than that though.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
There you go.
I did get the phone working.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, I take
that's a
back
real
my
number.
credit. I thought you just did it in your head.
That would have been good.
Yeah, you're on the ball.
Would have been good.
Of course he is.
But anyway, yeah, so that's a little bit below average, depending on who you listen to here. I think
listen to all of us.
we probably all say probably see this. It's fine. And
I don't think you're gonna regret it.
No.
I don't think
It's
you're
not
gonna
that
go
kind of-
like,
no.
woo! But I don't think you're gonna come out. I mean, there's just times where we leave the theater and we are angry. Like,
Yes.
I am angry.
No, this was not
and I'm
that.
like,
No.
I want my 2 hours back. I don't feel that way, but I still feel like it wasn't, like I said, it was a double. It was a sliding double. Not even a stand-up double, I feel. It was a sliding double.
for me, it was more like a walk.
Okay.
It
No,
was
I
like
get that.
you didn't really do much.
You're riding
but
off
you
of-
did,
yeah.
You did make it to first base.
You made it to first base, but you had no control over that. It was
Yeah.
all the pitcher failing.
and what happens from here depends on what other batters do.
fair
as far
point.
as
That's a good one.
this lineup of folks.
We should try to tie our ratings to different sports every time. So we did baseball
Next
today.
week, rugby. Yes. Well, anyway, thank you, listeners, for listening to the old podcast here. Please continue to listen, subscribe, download, like, do all those things that are positive in podcast world, and we will see you next time.
Da 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 da
Da da
da da da.
da da da.